How would you apply the question of free speech to radical Islamic preachers like Anjem Choudary and people like that who are calling for the downfall of the West and sometimes directly inciting violence? Should they be silenced or should they be free to say what they feel?
Well, I would say that on the direct call to violence, then there's a legal issue there. I mean, there's no such thing as hate speech. I don't know if you saw Governor Howard Dean a couple weeks ago talking about hate speech and saying that it was illegal, and this is just simply not true. I've invited him on my show. He has not responded, but. Hate speech doesn't exist. A direct call to violence is a criminal act, and then you can call the authorities, and then they can take action on that. As for what's happening in England, I mean, it seems to me that you have to, Flemming, maybe I think you're going to agree with me here, but feel free not to. I mean, it seems to me you have to let these people speak. Yeah, it's vile what they're talking about, and I mean, forgetting what they're talking about that they want to do with other minorities, religious minorities, and gay people and women and all of those things. They are trying to use the systems of tolerance that we have in the West to destroy the West. I mean, that's what the difference between an Islamist and a jihadist who's using violence. An Islamist is trying to use the systems we have against us. I don't know that stopping them from speaking is the right way to stop their ideology. I'm a firm believer that you let those ideas out there and you have to beat them with better ideas. But that one is as close to a place where I could possibly be convinced of something else. I don't think so at the moment. But what about using our own systems against us, which is so obviously what they're doing?
I mean, that's what the communists did during the Cold War, and we managed pretty well. In Denmark, we had a communist party with, they were sitting in parliament. They had their own newspapers, they had their own schools, they had their own unions, they had their own political festivals. They wanted to destroy democracy and put in a government that was loyal to Moscow, and I think we did pretty well. Today we are going in exactly the opposite direction. I mean, in Denmark, the Nazi Party was also not banned. And it isn't. So I think we have been pretty good at fighting totalitarian ideas in democracy by not banning them. But with radical Islam, we are doing that. I think Anjem Choudary, it's a borderline question, but in general, I don't think that you should prosecute people because they call for, the establishment of a caliphate. Even when they say that unbelievers have to be killed, I don't think that should be a criminal offense because it means that you should ban the Quran. That is a verse from the Quran. I mean, I think the right way is to, and I would like to know if there are living people in the society where I live who supports these kind of ideas. I would like to know. That would not be possible if they are not allowed to speak their mind, as long as they do not incite violence directly. Last year in Denmark, we passed a law criminalizing the condoning of polygamy in a religious setting, which was specifically targeting imams. Which means if I was an elected member of parliament and if I said that in parliament, I would not be prosecuted, but if I said it in a mosque, I would be prosecuted. That's discrimination. And I think it comes back to this lack of our ability to manage diversity of opinions. The communists and the Nazis, they also support undemocratic means, but they have more or less the same social values as we do. at least the communists, not the Nazis maybe, but they drink beer, they go to the movies, they listen to rock music, and so on and so forth. But Muslims, they have different social norms, and I think that's a huge challenge, and it frightens a lot of people. And therefore they think that we have to clamp down on all kinds of things.
Yeah. By the way, the reason that's so interesting and so complex is that you may have seen they did a documentary, I think it was on the BBC, about radical Islam, and 2 of the killers from London just a couple weeks ago were in it. So it wasn't that these guys were hiding, they were talking about what they were going to do. So in a way that works against our defense of free speech. They're using speech to tell us what they're going to do.
Yeah, but so I think the way I would put the positive point is our systems can't be used against us if we understand and implement our systems correctly. And there's a lot of mistakes that I think our government is making in England too. So in that example, I think the police should have followed those guys and investigated what they were doing. In the current context, people who are talking about the fact that they want to destroy society, they want to kill people on the basis of any ideology, there's a concept in the law called probable cause. And if you're going around saying, I actually want to kill people and I think other people should kill people, and being vague enough that it wouldn't be direct incitement, the police should pursue you and pay attention to you and decide whether you are, the way I would put it, is a criminal gang or conspiring with other people to destroy or violate the rights of other people. It can get complicated, but I mean, the basic way to think about this is that you have the right to speak and advocate even crazy ideas. You don't have the right to threaten people, to incite violence, or to conspire to commit crimes. If the police find that you're part of a group whose ultimate goal is to destroy our government or bomb people or kill people, I would think of it, and I think an easier way to think about it is, it's like the mafia. We know what the mafia is, right? It's not, now it may be hard to find out who's a member of the mafia, but if the guys at the Italian social club are making a big deal about how they're going to rob a bank sometime, you don't just say, there's nothing we can do because it's speech. No, sorry about if it offends Italians or anything, but whatever.
The Italian social club?
Yeah, I'm going back to...
What year do you think this is?
I grew up in New Jersey. But the point is that you don't have to, governments don't have to stand for groups that are effectively criminal conspiracies and just sit idly by and say we can't do anything about them. I actually think during the Cold War, if I'm correct about this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, the American Communist Party was directly working with the Soviet Union. They should have been investigated, arrested, and prevented from essentially being an ally or helping, aiding, and abetting an enemy of this country. That's not a violation of free speech. That's just basic criminal law. So if we thought of it this way and we really understood, wait a minute, we can go after people who are planning to overthrow the government or destroy people's lives or blow up buildings, and we thought of them as a criminal gang rather than just ideologically motivated. It doesn't matter what they're motivated by. Theft, destruction, ideology. It doesn't matter. If you fit the terms of a crime or you're committing a crime, and there are a number of different potential crimes that apply here, you're a criminal.
Thank you.